the Tales of series. We'll be teaming my series called Games I Love and Why, and we'll be talking in this episode about the Tales of series. And this is basically just a series that is an excuse for me to sit down and talk with you guys about some of my favourite games and game series and why I like. I think they're pretty cool, worth playing, worth talking about, worth discussing and worth playing, and I think you should give them a go. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So to begin with, let's get a bit of background on the Tales of series. Tales of games originally came out back in 1995 on the Super Nintendo era, with Tales of Fantasia, which was the first game in the series. There are 17 games in the main series, so it's quite a long game series. When you consider many other RPG series out there, this is quite up there in terms of length and how many games there are, and I think there's even more if you consider spin-offs and side stories and optional additional content related to the games that isn't game media but other media. So, very cool. I did play Tales of Fantasia. I had it on the Game Boy Advance, but I didn't really get into it. It was too old for me back then. However, I did play it again on the Nintendo Wii with Tales of Symphonia, and I quite enjoyed that. It was a long time until I got back into it. When I did, I really enjoyed it. And when I got back into it, it's actually been in recent years thanks to the Tales of Remastered project. So, for those who don't know what that is, Bandai Namco, the developers of the Tales of Games series, came out with a remastered project a while back, which is basically, as the name implies, a project in which they remaster the Tales of Games for modern audiences. So this is a great way to introduce new players to the series who might not have heard of it before, plus make older and previous games more accessible to a modern audience and give them a fresh coat of paint, nice little facelift, and some good old quality of life improvements and new features, which is always cool to look forward to from a game you enjoy. So they've covered quite a few games already. They've done Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Exilia, probably getting Tales of Exilia 2, because I understand there is a sequel to that game, so if we got the first, I dare say we'll get the second. Tales of Berseria, Tales of Grace F Remastered, and in October this year we'll be getting Tales of Eternia. Tales of Eternia will be coming out on October 16th, 2026, and my birthday happens to be the 15th of October, which works out absolutely perfect because that's one day after my birthday, so that'll be my birthday present to myself, and I know exactly what I'm going to be doing on my birthday this year. It's going to be a very cool freaking day. Looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to that game. So yeah, I think this is a really cool game, and I think it's worth discussing. So, all that aside, we're going to talk first about gameplay and about why I think this series is so cool. So gameplay is really interesting in these games. It has a definite anime feel to it, which seeps into the whole game, from its look and its feel to its story and its themes. Graphics are very heavily anime based, and it has skits, cutscenes, which are very anime based. Skits are really cool too. Basically, they're little cutscenes between your characters where dialogue will ensue, and they're usually voice acted. Well, they weren't voice acted in Tales of Symphonia, which was a disappointment. And these skits will have dialogue between your characters that can give you information about the world and the lore and the characters and their relationships and things like that, and they're triggered by various things. And they're really cool. They have a cool comic book look about it, where you've got little panels of characters and photos of them pop up, which personally reminds me of the cutscenes you see in Fantasy Star 4. I played that, quite an old Mega Drive game. Yeah, they definitely have an anime comic book feel to these skits, and they're really cool. But the gameplay is really good in these. I've never played a Tales game that I didn't enjoy the story and the gameplay of. They're really high fantasy stories, sometimes involving ancient civilizations, lost technology, space travel, sci-fi themes, medieval fantasy themes, saving the world, story of revenge, story of friendship, the power of friendship, of good overcoming evil. the power of working together for a common goal. And there are certain recurring themes that you'll find that pop up in the games. Like the turtles are an example. There's a turtle boss in several of the games. Quite a few of the games also have a new game plus where you can tackle a new dungeon and boss once you clear the game. They have lots of optional side content. You'll find a lot. One thing that the new Tales of Games have, which is really good because I lost 2 years on the game, is a destination marker, which a lot of new games have. It's a really cool little feature, and this is especially unique because it has a star system. The star will tell you what direction you need to go in to find where you need to go. Plus, you'll have a number, which is a counter that will go down and get closer to 0 the closer you are to your actual destination, so you'll know your destination when the star reaches 0. Plus, it's good for providing various finding out which direction you need to go, which really helps. Another thing they've added into the remasters is the grade system. The grade system basically allows for greater flexibility when setting up your game. It allows you to choose from various settings such as increasing your item inventory space, the game difficulty, the experience you'll receive, the amount of gold or money you'll receive from battles, whether your spells are going to cost less damage, cost less TP or magic or whatever points it is, whatever system it is to use in battle, increased proficiency in mini games, those sort of things. Mini games like in terms of crafting and things. Some games have crafting, which allow you to temper your weapons, make them stronger, or craft new weapons. Others don't. But the grade system is really cool. There are also recurring themes like the apple gels are always in them. One thing I really like, which I always thought is cute, is nearly all the Tale games, not all of them, but most of them have really unique pictures for your items. So when you're looking at your items in your inventory, along with just seeing the item name, you'll see a cute little unique picture for every item, which is really cool. There are also costumes you can get. The costumes are really fun because they'll be unlocked through the story-free DLC, which a lot of the games have, which is another nice little improvement, and also free side quests. And as they would lead you to believe, these costumes allow you to change your appearance in battle. And when walking around, it's really cool seeing your costumes change in cutscenes. And you can even have little accessories, things like a halo or an angel wing or a hat or an eye, piece of eye with like sunglasses or something. So you can also get those, which is really fun. It's a cool little bit of depth. One of the games, Tales of Games Gamer had a title system, which basically allows you to learn skill points that allow you to learn new things based on your skill points. So basically you will learn like extra defense, extra attack. Your attacks will get stronger, so you might get extra points in defense or offense or magic or what have you. I'm not sure if the tile system is in all of those Tales games. I've only noticed in Tales Gamer Master, but it's a cool little feature. But yeah, also the stories are really great. The stories have great fantasy elements. Like I said, you might be doing for Lost Civilization or a great ancient evil that needs to be defeated, but I've never encountered a bad Tales story yet, and they're really fun. And the characters are also really great. And one thing I've noticed about the Tales games is they're really about not just the story as a whole, but the story and how that story affects your main characters. So meeting your characters, becoming friends with them, learning their likes and dislikes, learning their backstory, their place in the story, how they feel about the other characters, how they interact with them, how they feel about the events that unfold in the world, how they deal with those events. Those are all key elements of the story. And you've also got that power friendship thing, which is a big theme in this, which is a little corny, but they do it so well that it really just leaves you feeling that friendships are good. They can make your world a better place. And that most of the world's problems, if not all, can be solved by the actions of good people doing good things for the greater good. So yeah, really good stories. Really, really good. It also have good world building. You'll have a world map. You also gain various vehicles, allow you to access different modes of transportation. You'll even gain access to fast travel. One example is the turtles. They have the turtles transport system, which will allow you to travel back to various towns that you visited. But this isn't a full-on travel mode in that you can't go anywhere at all times, but you will actually unlock fast travel once you get a late point in the game that will do that. And that might be an airship or in Raspberry. It was Baal, which was basically like a giant whale that flies through the sky. Very cute. It was cool as hell. So yeah, you can expect all those things. They also have mini games. I've never been a big fan of mini games in games, so I only really play them when absolutely necessary, or if I actually happen to enjoy the mini game in question. There's a reward I want. But mini games are always fun, and they add that extra optional content if you so want it. They also have a recurring boss, which is the Dark Turtles. Usually an endgame recurring boss that you can fight. There's also the Cat's Corner and the Cat. They're another recurring theme in some of the Tales of games. Cats being a race of creatures. And I don't know if it appears in other games, but Cat's Corner was in Tales of Grace Zephyr Master, which is the most recent Tales of game that I've played over this video, and now started Tales of Symphonia. There's also a lot of optional content to be had. If you decide to do all the optional content, you can maybe doubly or tripling your game's playtime easily. There are lots and lots of side quests. Some of these are missable, some are optional, some you'll come across just through the course of the story, and they're well worth doing because they give you great rewards. They give you more dialogue and more story and more interaction between your characters, so it's fun. The rewards are always good. And I always, as a whole, try and do as much optional content as I can in a game, because when I get into it, I don't want to put it down anytime soon. I want to get as much as possible out of that experience as I can. So, there are lots of amazing things about the Tales game, and one of the things I really like is the maps that they have in the new ones, which make it so much easier to get around. You can pull up your mini-map and see where you need to go. You can also see a large map of where to go, which makes things really handy. Yeah, if you haven't played these games, I recommend giving them a go. So be surprised if you don't enjoy them. There's a lot to love going in here. Anyway, let's move on to the next part. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about the battles. Quick other points that I forgot to bring up in the previous part. So this game does have a bit of item creation to a certain extent, not a great deal, but you can do cooking. That's usually in all the mainline Tales games, and cooking is really fun. Each dish has different effects, and of course they take different items, different combinations of items, cooking ingredients to make, and they can have various effects such as giving you extra XP or SP or item drops in battle, which are always fun, and they heal your party, which is also really cool, obviously. I believe there are 17 mainline games in the Tales series, so it's been around for quite a while. I've had its 30th anniversary recently. I think that was last year. And coming up, what are we up to? Final Fantasy 16, plus Dragon Quest is getting up there too, so it's a very long series. It has been around for quite some time. Like I said, it's been around since 1995, so they've been doing what they've been doing for a while and had quite a lot of time to perfect the formula. And I think they're getting quite good at perfecting that formula. This is definitely RPG comfort food in its finest and purest form, which I'm all here for. So the battles. They changed the battle system and the name of such battle system in every Tales game. But I believe it's called the linear motion battle system. And one thing I like about this game is I usually only play RPGs that have turn-based combat. After this many times before on my channel, then it's not turn-based or at least partially turn-based, I won't play it. Battles in all the Tales games are a combination of action and turn-based. So they are turn-based, but there are real-time elements. And so the battles can be quite fast and quite snappy because of this action element, which I actually find really fun because it means that in boss battle never drag on for too long. They're very fast and very snappy and very satisfying. You'll have even magic points or TP. Sometimes there aren't even TP in this. Might just be action or ability points. And these are what uses your attacks. And you have a normal attack, which is just an attack, and then you have attacks that use abilities. You can also unleash Mystic Arts, which are powerful special moves, so basically like a limit break. Sometimes your characters will learn spells that are like a summon spell, like you would see in Final Fantasy games. You have your magic spells, your healing spells, although they're called arts in this game. And your arts also extend from attack and healing spells and support spells and buffs and debuffs and boosts to resurrection spells and to your normal attack arts. And the game keeps track of how many of the arts you've used. It'll normally keep you track in the form of a number of how many times you've used it. And you can map it out to your keys to decide which key you want to correspond with which art. And there are quite a lot, and you will unlock many. And there are many hidden arts as well that can be learnt in battle. And the battle system is surprisingly deep. It doesn't sound all that complicated, but it's actually very deep if you want to get into it and learn all the little nooks and crannies of it. There's also guarding, which is very important because enemies can do heavy damage, and by guarding it appropriately at the right time, doing it smartly, you can save yourself a lot of damage in battles and make things a lot easier. There aren't really elemental weaknesses as far as I know. You can scan enemies to find out more information about them and what they're all about. And one thing I also really like about this game is that a lot of them have a library system, and you can go in and it will tell you things like all the different items you've collected, all the healing items, all the cooking items, all the equipment and armour, any item creation items, and also a bestiary that shows all your enemies and information about them, which is all very well and good because it's extremely fun to try and fill those books in and collect them and get as much information as those goods as you can. Completing is quite the task, but it's definitely satisfying to try and attempt to do so. Not all of them, but some games also incorporate other forms of item creation, like along with your cooking, you might have an ability to craft items. For example, this is House of Grace F Remastered. We have the dual-eye system, and the dual-eye system allows you to create items. You can create items using up to, I think, 3 items, and you'll make unique items. And it's very intuitive because items are highlight the colour if you haven't created them before, so it's very easy to see at a glance which ones you have already made. It's one of those new items for safe completion, you know exactly which one's going to be new. Plus, of course, you've got your dualising book that tells you which ones you already made, and of course, there's plenty of guides out there to fill in those gaps if you so choose. Another feature I really like about these games is the ability to switch between difficulty modes, so you can choose between easy, normal, hard, and they have extra hard modes for those who want to go down that route, but I give them credit because I never could. I don't have the skill for it. I'll be happy to admit that. But yeah, you can also change this in-game at any point, which is quite handy. A bit of being guilty of cheating sometimes and switching it to easy when things get really, really tough, like on a hard boss, a hidden boss or something. So you can really tailor it to play your playstyle. You've got your destination markers, and you've also got the grade shop. The grade shop wasn't in the older games, but it's been introduced in during most of the new remastered games, and it lets you tweak the settings. So you've got things like increasing your item drops, increasing experience and SP gain, using less TP or magic points for abilities. So you've got your dualising book, which lets you see what items you've successfully made, and you've also got your grade shop. If you don't know what the grade shop is, basically what that is, it allows you to tweak the various settings of the game. So you'll have options like increasing the damage you do, like decreasing the damage you do, letting abilities use less TP or magic points, whatever it is, letting you expand your item inventory so you can carry more items, increasing the amount of XP you receive and the amount of SP you receive. And these really can help you customise your game in that you can make it as easy or as hard as you want. And these grade shops can be easily adjusted at any point during the game, although sometimes I think you have to just set it at the beginning of the game and that's it. I don't think we're getting a grade shop in Tales of Britannia though, which is coming up soon. Although we're going to get something, I forget what they call it, a very similar system which will have many similar functions, but it won't actually be the grade shop because the grade shop wasn't around when that game was made. But yeah, so the grade shop's really interesting if you want to mess around with it. You also have the option to change your difficulty level, so you've got easy, hard, and then you've got all your really higher up difficulties as well. I give people the utmost credit for attempting because I couldn't even attempt to do those difficulty levels. I simply don't have a skill, but I'm more happy to admit that. But yeah, so you've got those options that you can choose, and you can usually change that option mid-game, which is also good. So I think that's really handy because there have been times where I've been guilty of changing the setting from normal, which is my usual go-to setting, to easy or particularly challenging bosses and human bosses and so forth. And then you've got your retry option, which as the name implies, simply allows you to retry a battle if you are defeated, which is really handy. I've gone from playing Tales of Grace every Master Tales Symphony with the retry option, which sucks because the enemies are dealing a lot harder. Damages things a lot harder than the other one that I'm not so used to. But yeah, one thing I'm curious about is how the game changes from a 3D battle playing in newer Tales of games to a 2D battle playing in games like Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Eternia, because I've played a great deal of Tales of Symphonia for quite some time, so I'm not too familiar with the battle system in that. I know it's a lot slower and less snappy than the other ones. That's because it's on a 2D plane. Same gameplay though, it just seems to go a bit slower, and those exact inner workings of it I need to figure out as I continue to play. But I'm looking forward to finding out how to best play with that current system so that I'm more experienced at playing games like that for when Tales of Eternia eventually comes out in October for my birthday to play. Next we're going to be talking about optional content, but I'll leave that for the next section. So let's move on to the next part, shall we, guys? Okay, so on to the optional stuff. There's a lot of cool optional stuff in these games that you can enjoy. So, examples of this being the side quests. There are lots of side quests in this game. Some of the games have systems that allow you to easily find these side quests through quest markers, like in Tales of Grace every Master there is a star. You can easily tell when there is a side quest by the star icon. There's also destination icons, like you would see in the new Tales of games, to tell exactly where you need to go. I know that's going to be a feature in Tales of Eternia. I read that, so not all of them do, but they make it pretty easy. Otherwise, you've got you guys to tell you where to go for your side quest, but either way, there's lots of cool side quests that you can do, which are really fun. And I think they're well worth doing because they add a lot to the game. Not only do they add a lot in terms of content and length to the game, I think it's safe to say you can easily double or triple the content of the length of the game, sorry, if you choose to tackle its optional content. It just adds a lot to the experience. You'll get yourself a lot of extra dialogue, new story and character developments, new lore, more background info. Along with, of course, the good stuff like items and rewards and experience and money and so forth for doing it. So the little work I used to be one of those people who insist on getting every last little thing now, not all paid back, and I'm not so worried about it, don't have the time, but I still like to attempt to get as many side quests and optional content completed and cleared as I possibly can. So you can look forward to that in these games. There's always plenty to do. Some content is naturally got a timer on it, others do not have a time. So it pays to check the guides and find out in advance so you don't miss out on things. I forget if I mentioned this before, but there's also the fact that you can retry battles, which is really handy. So if you get into a hard fight and you haven't saved for a while, don't worry about losing that progress. You can easily and quickly try again at the press of a button. Have another crack at that battle, see how you might go next time around, or rethink your strategy, which is cool and very convenient. This game also has costumes, which are often a reward from side content. The costumes are really fun. As the name implies, you receive outfits that your character can change into and wear, and these will change the appearance of your characters so that when they're walking around and in battle and even in cutscenes, their appearance will change to reflect the new outfit, which is really cool. I think it's really fun seeing the fun new outfits and goofy ass outfits for serious cutscenes playing. It's really fun, and it's really addictive trying to collect them all. A lot of these you'll find in a game through DLC, because not all, many of the games did have DLC back in the day. So to make up for that original DLC, Bandai Namco has generously included those DLCs into the base game. And you'll get things like costumes, extra items, new skits, things like that. So it's always good to look forward to. You can also create new items and temper them. I mentioned this before, so you've got your cooking, and you can also temper items, so you can make your weapon and equipment stronger. You can upgrade it a couple of times. Sometimes it requires a combination of items to increase the strength of your weapons and armour. Sometimes you can create all new items. You've got your cooking, there's also mini games. Yeah, lots of fun stuff. I think these games are well worth playing. I hope I've convinced you all out there who maybe haven't played these games to give them a go if you haven't already done so. Now's a great time to get into them, I really think so, because of 3 months. You really couldn't get a better time to get into a series. And there's so many great titles for you to enjoy. I really think you'll find yourself getting hooked and getting lost into one after many games and finding yourself a new obsession if you get into this. So I think we're going to wrap it up. We have some final points to go over. So, let's see. I'm looking forward to seeing how the battles progressed in this game, going from a 2D to a 3D plane, because I only played the Talesof games that played out on a 3D plane. I'm curious to see how they'll play out on a 2D plane. If I'm playing Tales of Symphonia, that'll give me some excellent opportunity to do so. That's one thing I'm very curious about, Tales of Symphonia, and how exactly that's going to work with the battle systems, which I'm not too familiar with that. I don't think it'll change a great deal. I think it'll just mean the battles a bit slower and less fast-paced. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'm also going to cover some of the Tales of Intros in my shorts, so look forward to that. These games have voice acting, and the voice acting is very well done. I've never seen a bad Tales of game. The only one I can sort of say is Tales of Green doesn't have the best, but that was a pretty old game, so it's to be expected. I think there's actually a lot of charm in those old voice recordings, because people think that they're not very good, but I think they have a certain charm. I grew up with them, so I really can't fault them. Being nostalgia or whatever. These games also have really good world building. You'll find things that carry from one game to another, like a lot of the Tales games will have a arena resource that you can go to, and these are really fun. Try your luck out and see how strong you are and how you can progress some items you can get by doing so. And things like the cats and what have you, and the gels and that, which are always in, and light bulbs, which are always in these games. And one thing that's really cool is when you look at your items, they'll have a little picture next, which shows you what they look like, which is really fun and really cute. Because it gets you more into the game that you can visually see and immerse yourself into what these items are and what they look like, which is really freaking cool. And not enough games do. But yeah, these games are very focused on the stories of the characters. I think that plays a big part. The main story is important, but it's almost secondary to those side stories going on between your characters. The game also has good music. I'm not a big fan of game music unless it's fairly standard out. These games don't really follow music. I don't think get into that experience even more. But that's going to wrap it up for this video because it's getting quite long. When I start talking about a game I like, I won't shut up. Anyway, though, that's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel if you're not already, and leave me a comment. All that small stuff doesn't seem like much, but it all adds up. And
hi everyone! Follow me for more content and hit that like button.
Also, 99% of people who watch my videos, it's always 100% actually. Aren't actually subscribed, so if that's you, what are you doing? Please subscribe or that way you won't miss out a single thing. Also now on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, so feel free to follow me over there and pop on one of those platforms to miss out on all the latest channel news. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, everybody. I've got more videos planned. I'm going to do some more in the Games of Love by my series. The next episode of the Suikoden manga.
Hi everyone! Be sure to follow me and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Luca Blight, a villain story about him, villain analysis, and also the death of physical games, or I think that's a bad thing. I was going to do that today, but I decided on doing Tales. I was in Tales kind of mood. But yeah, look forward to those things coming up and more shorts. I'm only 2 subscribers away from 200. Well, yeah, it's getting so freaking close. Thank you guys for the new support and the new likes and subs. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. So thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. Once again, I've been your host, RPGgoddess Gamer. I love you all guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone, take it easy, love you.
Moon Prism Power. Makeup